Hey guys, Jen here from Chaos and Grace, where we talk about all things homeschooling and frugal homeschooling and road schooling and homestead homeschooling, all things homeschooling. So if any of that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell so you stay up to date on all of our videos that we put out. So getting right into today's video, today I joined a collaboration that was put together by Christina over at Graceful Joys. And this collaboration is going to be a bunch of random homeschool questions. These are questions that every homeschooler is going to encounter, most likely at some point in time in their homeschooling career. So we're just gonna get right into these questions here. We don't have a real set PE or gym curriculum that we use. What we do is, our oldest son is in karate. He's been doing that for several years and he loves it. So that would, I guess, be his formal PE kind of class. But we don't really have anything that they have to do every single day. We have to make sure we get the exercise in. As far as the other ones, they're 6, 7, and 3. So there's really, they move constantly anyways. There's no real organized thing I really want them to do except just kind of get out and run and play and just kind of be healthy. In winter it gets a little more challenging, but we still make sure, unless it's a really cold, like bitter cold freezing day, we won't go outside. And then we have to, I have a house with 3 boys in it and a young preschooler, so I have to have some form of physical outlet for them to get the wiggles out and just kind of get that extra energy out. They have to be able to do it. So if that's running around the house playing Nerf Wars, or we've got some kids yoga videos and just kind of fun dancing videos. We do a lot of that stuff in the winter time, playing in the snow, a lot of physical activity that we try and sneak in here and there in the winter. In the non-winter months, we are outside all the time. We do a lot of hiking in our homeschool. We try and hike every day in the morning before we homeschool. It just kind of helps get all their wiggles out and helps them focus, especially my son with sensory processing disorder. He really needs that movement in the morning to kind of help him be able to sit down and do any kind of seat work, table work, or anything. We make sure we do all of our PE stuff together, but no, we don't really have a formal curriculum for it. Socialization. Every homeschooler gets this question at some point in time. How do you socialize your children? Everywhere. We socialize them everywhere, and everything we do, everywhere we go. Going to the store, going to a children's museum, going to the zoo, going everywhere. They socialize. They find friends everywhere they go. And they're not limited to their age bracket. My 12-year-old doesn't just play with 11, 12, 13-year-olds. He'll get down and he'll play with the younger kids. And the high schoolers that we know that are homeschoolers, they'll play with him and the younger ones. We just kind of find that they learn to socialize in a much more diverse environment, and they have no problems just jumping in and being a part of things. No, my son does not miss public school. He actually doesn't have a whole lot of fond memories when it comes to public school. He did have friends there, and he does see those friends at the fair or just kind of out and about in town. He goes to karate with a couple of them. He really enjoys being able to learn at his pace and learn more, dive in deeper into the things that he really, really loves, like anything science related. So no, I say that's a firm no, that he does not miss public school at all. Yes, our kids very much enjoy being homeschooled. We've talked a little bit about it with the kids and if they had any interest in going to public school, and the only one that said maybe when he's older, were his exact words, was my middle son, Jackson, who is 7 now. Right now, he really doesn't want to go, and at this age, him being 7 and in 1st grade, it's not really a decision that we're going to put in his hands because he doesn't have enough knowledge about that to make that kind of decision. So one day, if he's still interested in it and he wants to explore that, that's definitely something that we would allow him to do if he wants to go for reasons that we can agree with. That is totally up to God. He led us to homeschool. We had circumstances in why we started homeschooling that I think were very God-driven, and we did not come to that decision lightly. So when we decided to, and we got moving in homeschooling, and it was a rough first year, we decided that it was the best decision we ever made for our family, not just the kids individually, but for our family unit as a whole. And we have no intention of going off that path that we were led to walk down to begin with. If God has another plan, I'm sure he will make it known to us at some point in time. But as far as our plans today, right now sit, we are planning on homeschooling throughout high school. They of course get sick days. I am not going to require them to sit at a desk or go walking on a hike if they're not feeling well. If they're not feeling well, their bodies need rest, they can sleep in, they can do whatever they need to do, within reason of course, to feel better. And I don't require that they do their actual written schoolwork for the day. However, I also do not allow them to sit on the couch and watch TV and video games all day either. So they can use art supplies, they can read, they can build, they can do a couple different computer games, but I keep it educational and we still have the same media rules that we have during our regular school week. Now, when it snows, because we are in the Midwest, it snows quite often. This winter, we actually have not had as much snow as we were thinking we were gonna have. So when it does snow, we do have snow days. Now, we don't necessarily take the entire day off, but I do cut back the amount of schooling that we will do in a day. Maybe we'll omit history or an art project or something like that and go outside, because especially in winter, see the other question about PE. So if it is snowing and the temperature allows us to, we will go outside and spend as much time as we can get out there playing in the snow. Our spring break consists of the week of Easter. We don't do the typical spring break that the school districts do. We don't follow that schedule. We do spring break on Easter because we want to take that week and we study about Jesus and about his sacrifice for us and his resurrection and all of that. That we make a full week out of it. We read a ton of library books, we do some lap booking and some projects, and we have a lot of fun games and things that we'll do, watch some documentaries, and we'll just kind of make it all about Jesus. And that is our spring break. We also do squeeze-ins, of course, some fun. We don't have formal schooling kind of activities in the week, whatever that'll be. But we keep that spring break week about Jesus. Both. We do have, I start in August, our formal curriculum, and that's our normal day-to-day schedule that we follow throughout the year. But we do also have curriculum that we'll do just for the summer. Last year for summer, we had to work in English for one of my children. And then we had to work in math for another one of my children. So we just kind of steadily progressed. We didn't get up and say, okay, 9 o'clock we got to start and we got to get done with this XYZ by this time. We didn't have a schedule. We didn't really have an as rigid routine as we normally do throughout the school year. But we do keep the pace of learning going throughout the summer. Sometimes I'll get those books. They're kind of bridge books that we can get. You can get them at Walmart. I'll put a link for them below, of the ones that I've used. But we'll use those just to kind of keep everything that we've learned fresh, because what is that statistic? Like 2/3 of what kids learn in school throughout the year, they forget over summer break. And I really don't want to spend the first almost quarter of our school year relearning things that we have already learned. Review is one thing, relearning is another. And I really don't like doing that. So I just kind of like to keep the momentum going just to keep things fresh so that they don't lose what we've worked so hard to learn. Grading and testing. I do grade, but I don't formally test. Now my oldest son, he's in 7th grade. He does get tested in his curriculum. It's not standardized testing. I don't do standardized testing. I don't feel it's necessary at this point in time for my children. That might change next year. I don't know. We'll just kind of have to take it as it comes. But right now, I've never done standardized testing with my children. I haven't felt it's been necessary for us. My favorite subject to teach, Bible is definitely my favorite because it inspires a lot of conversations. Aside from learning about God and learning about Jesus, just the conversations that spin off from those lessons are some of the best conversations I've ever had in our family with my kids, especially. They're wonderful. favorite this year, which is normally my favorite thing to teach, is English. Well, not really English, writing. Writing, I'm having a hard time with writing this year. We are going to be switching to a writing curriculum, which I will let you know what it is and what I think of it when we get started on it. But I'm excited about it. I hope it goes better than what we've been doing, because it's going, we're making progress, but I'm not loving it. I don't think he's loving it either. My favorite homeschool planner. I don't have one. I have a different planner every single year. I have yet to find one that I absolutely head over heels love. This year I am using the Apologia planner, which I will link below. It is a great planner. It's just got a little too much in it for me. I might at some point in time end up designing my own. That might be better and cheaper. My favorite book on homeschooling right now. I have so many. There's so many. Teaching from Rest is probably my favorite right now. It's what I need to hear in the season that I'm in. Another one that I've been using that isn't necessarily a homeschooling book, but we have a fairly new diagnosis of sensory processing disorder for my youngest son, who is 6, and there is a sensory processing disorder book called The Out of Sync Child, and that has kind of been my SPD Bible. And there's an activity book that kind of goes along with that, along with several others. So if you have a child with sensory processing disorder, I'll leave links below for those books. They're a fantastic book, especially the activity book. I've actually been able to sit down with him and go through them and pick out some things, work with his occupational therapist, and they've been great. And that book has been a lifesaver. But as far as straight homeschooling books, Teaching from Rest, definitely by Sarah Mackenzie? I will leave a link for that too. That's a quick read. And this is from someone who cannot sit and read an entire book, because in the morning I just want to be in my Bible, and at night I just want to sleep. So I don't really have a lot of time to read. But this one is thin, and it's got a fantastic, powerful message, and just sits and resonates really well with everybody, every homeschool mom that I've ever heard that's read it. It's a fantastic book. So I highly recommend it. The other one that I am making notes in and reading parts of through over the last probably 4 months now is Homeschooling Through High School. I'll leave a link for that one below too. That one, we're getting ready to get into high school in the next year. You know, we're finishing 7th grade now and going through 8th grade and then high school. And I'm very nervous about it. My son is super excited. Yeah, he's in high school. But I'm nervous to teach high school and to be responsible for all of that record keeping and transcripts and what about college and its future. And this is kind of the last step into adulthood. And I'm nervous, super, can you tell? I'm like super nervous about it. But this book has kind of helped clarify it and organize it and help me organize my own brain, my own thoughts and everything, so that I don't feel so chaotic in my thinking or acting or organizing or lack thereof. So that is it. That is our random homeschool collaboration. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found something useful from it. I want to highly recommend that you check out the link below for all the other fantastic channels that are doing this collaboration. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.